Hi, I'm Dr. Elizabeth Zhang. I'm an ophthalmologist and oculoplastic specialist. And I'm going to talk today about why you may have tearing if your eyes are actually dry. So that sounds counterintuitive, but I see lots of patients who come to my office because they are having a lot of tearing, and the actual cause of their tearing is dry eye. So there are multiple components to the tear film. There's a water component or a saltwater component, and that's made from the lacrimal gland. But there's other glands that make mucins and oils that express onto the eye as well. The meibomian glands make an oil, and there's also goblet cells that make mucin. And these different components actually mix together in order to create a good tear film. So if you think about it, when your hands are dry, your skin's dry, you put lotion, you don't put water. In fact, if you put water in your skin, you actually dry it out more. So you need what's that like emulsification factor in order to actually lubricate your skin. Well, the same is true for your eye. If you just put water on your eye, you're actually going to dry it out as well, even if it is a salt water like that's made in the lacrimal gland. So there's an evolutionary response that's been made that, if your eyes feel like there's sand in the eye, like if you actually got sand in your eye, you want to flush that sand out. So the lacrimal gland will make a whole bunch of water to actually flush out any sand. But when your eyes feel dry, that feeling can actually cause the feeling of like dirt or sand in the eye, that kind of gritty feeling. And so then the lacrimal gland senses this, and it can't differentiate between actual sand in the eye or that feeling of dryness in the sands in the eye. So then it produces more water, and that's why you get tearing. And that can happen often because you're not actually expressing enough of the other oils and mucins to actually create that good quality tear film. So there's a condition called meibomian gland dysfunction, and that's when your meibomian glands aren't expressing well. And the meibomian glands make the oil part of your tear film, again, that emulsification factor. And it's really common that these glands can get stopped up. In fact, when they do get stopped up, that's how you can get what people call a sty or chalazion or hordeolum. So, you don't have to necessarily get styes in order for your glands not express well. This is why warm compresses are prescribed for people who have chalazions, but warm compresses can actually really help people with dry eyes as well. And the reason why is just like you heat up those glands, then you heat up the oil, and when you heat up oils, they become more liquid. So if you think of butter is solid at room temperature, or if you keep butter in the refrigerator, it's really solid. But if you melt it, if you warm it up, it's going to be liquidy and it's going to be more oil. So if you heat up your eyelids and you heat up those meibomian glands, then that meibomian oil can go from a more solid substance to a more liquid substance, and then that liquid will actually express onto the surface of the eye better. So every time you blink, a little bit of that meibomian oil is supposed to actually express from those glands and get to the surface of your eye and create a good tear film. So every time you blink, it's like a windshield wiper, putting a new coat of tears over your eyes. If you're not expressing that meibomian oil and you're not having good tear film, then you can imagine like your windshield wiper, when you're not getting enough washer fluid coming up, like it becomes a little streaky, and it can even cause your vision to not be as clear, just like it's not clear when you look through a windshield that has all those streaks on it. And so that's why warm compresses can actually be a great way to help with dry eyes. And in fact, I've had dry eyes since really probably my 20s. And I currently do a warm compress every single morning in order to just keep my tear film good so that I'm not using artificial tears all day. So artificial tears is a great way to help people with dry eyes. Basically, those artificial tears have all the good components in order to lubricate the eye. But the eyes constantly make tears and constantly drain tears. And so when you put in an artificial tear, the lasting effects aren't very long because, again, you drain those tears and it goes away. And so, but if you do the warm compress and now your meibomian glands are actually expressing better and constantly expressing that oil, that can actually cause more lubrication for a much longer time period. So again, the reason why you may have tearing even when your eyes are dry is that your lacrimal gland is just producing more of that watery tear because of that gritty feeling, and that gritty feeling is from dryness. What you can really do to help with dry eyes, again, is using artificial tears and also doing warm compresses. You want to stay away from things like Visine, Clear Eyes, anything that says like get the red out or maximum red remover. The way it gets the red out is it actually constricts the blood vessels on the surface of the eye, and those blood vessels are needed for you to get oxygen to your eye, And so when you constrict those blood vessels, you actually kind of get less oxygen in the eye gets more irritated. You get this factor where after those drops wear off, your eyes are more red, you use more of the drop. It's really not a great factor. So the other caveat is, you are a little bit of what you eat. So, if you're eating a lot of saturated fats, then those meibomian glands may not function as well. So you really want to try to eat more, unsaturated fats, olive oil, those kind of good fats in your diet. So I hope this was helpful. Thank you.